Hey interwebs, it's Jackie K, and let's get right down to business. This is going to be a mini episode of the KayCast dedicated to Pokemon Sun and Moon. But on the off chance you're trying to avoid any information you possibly can, this is your final warning. With that said, when I recorded the last KayCast, there was a trailer revealed for Sun and Moon. The date I'm recording this is September 10th, 2016, and that trailer came out not quite a week ago at this point, but a few days. I'm dating the video here on the off chance more Sun and Moon news comes out before I can get this up, and you all go, Jackie K, this is not the latest trailer, what are you talking about? Well, for me it was the latest trailer at the time of recording this. If it gives you better context, it came around the same time as Train On 02 came out. So if you go to their YouTube channel, the Pokemon YouTube channel, that'll give you a better idea. Also, before I get into this, if you're still watching this and you're trying to avoid Sun and Moon news, one, what are you doing? I could have sworn I've stated in every forum that this video is going to be focusing on Pokemon Sun and Moon. But yeah, you should probably leave now. Before you go, I do recommend you check out the previous KayCast episode. I've talked about a various amount of subjects that have nothing to do with Pokemon Sun and Moon. I actually go a bit into Pokemon Go, longer than I was expecting, so if you enjoy Pokemon but are trying to avoid that new stuff, that might be a good video for you. Last thing I want to state, yeah, if I'm still in the process of recording this by the time new Sun and Moon news comes up, sure, I'll record my thoughts on that as well. Keep in mind though, I tend to focus only on official statements from Nintendo, Pokemon Company, etc. I don't cover leaks, even if they're popular ones like the Coral magazine, unless it's something that really interests me. But even then, I try to tone back. Now, onwards with the news. I'll admit, first look at this trailer, it didn't seem too eventful. We got 2 new Pokemon and 1 new Alola form. However, if you actually take the time to look at it closely, followed up by a trip to the Pokemon website, there's a lot more to all the things we got out of this trailer that meets the eye. To start dividing it up, let's go with the new Pokemon we've found out about. We've got 2 new Pokemon and a new Alola form. The Alola form, I think a lot of us saw coming, but it has been officially revealed that there is an Alola Raticate. It is very similar to Alolan Rattata in terms of type and ability. And I suppose I can throw a picture up there for the YouTube watchers. Otherwise you can go to the Pokemon site yourself and look at it. But it's a chubby little guy. And he's kind of got a mafia boss look to him. Maybe I'm just assuming too much from the Pokemon. It mentions that they have high calorie diets because they're urban Pokemon. Although I always thought Rattatas were considered urban Pokemon. Maybe I'm just playing too much Pokemon Go. I know they appear in Tall Grass and other Pokemon games, but that's mostly because you couldn't encounter Pokemon in towns. The few places they had urban areas you could run into Pokemon, like in Black and White 2, where you had the sewer areas, I believe you could run into Rattatas, as well as Zubats. So I've always considered Rattata more of an urban Pokemon already, but Sun and Moon are saying that this is the urban Rattata and Raticate. They prefer only fresh fruits and vegetables, causing rumors that certain top-notch restaurants take advantage of Alola's Raticate's taste buds by bringing it along when choosing ingredients to buy and having it taste new dishes. This is a really interesting bit of tidbit to me. I completely missed it, but I noticed people talking on social media about it. Kind of has ties to another animated rat that had a taste for high quality food, and restaurants would use it to make sure their dishes are the best they possibly can be. I feel like there's been an animated movie in the past that's done this. Pixar, maybe? It must be up. Wait, that movie doesn't have rats. Next Pokemon to note is Janimo. I think is how you pronounce it. It's a really odd name, I have to admit. But I think I like it. Just because of it has a cuteness look. A little laid back from the looks of his eyes. And if his look doesn't give off an awesome description, then the way to describe the Pokemon does. It's a very prideful Pokemon. Has the capabilities of a warrior, with a modest side as well. They use the scales on their head for both offense and defense, and it never turns its back to the enemy. And according to the site, many trainers see that behavior and assume that it's a valiant Pokemon because of that. They tend to gather in areas where very few Pokemon or people are around, and in order to train, and they live together while doing so. It is a pure dragon, though who knows what its type will be with its evolutions. This just screams, I'm a cute little baby dragon, but I'm going to evolve to be a big tough badass. I really like the abilities it has too. Bulletproof and Soundproof are two abilities I don't see on too many Pokemon. And I think it's the only Pokemon that could get either or. For those of you who don't know competitive battling, Bulletproof is an ability that basically blocks any moves that resemble bullets. I forget the exact moves that it covers, but I think it pretty much covers anything that is ball-like shapes, so it could completely negate moves like Shadow Ball, I believe. You know, give me a moment to double check that. Oh yeah, according to Bulbapedia, it's ball-shaped moves as well as bomb-like moves. I got the list of moves up on here, and it includes moves as Acid Spray, Aurora Spear, Barrage, Bullet Seed, Egg Bomb, Electro Ball, Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Gyro Ball, Ice Ball, Magnet Bomb, Mist Ball, Mud Bomb, Akazuka, Rock Wrecker, Shearing Shot, Seed Bomb, Shadow Bomb, Sludge Bomb, Water Ball, and Zap Cannon. A lot of these moves are moves that can be really good or are commonly used in competitive battling, so it's a really interesting ability to have. And the only Pokemon I recall right now having it is Chestnut. I believe that's the fully evolved form of the grass starter. And as for Soundproof, that may not seem as useful, but there are a few sound-based moves that can be used for interesting combos in competitive battling, as well as the fact that all sound-based attacks actually ignore Substitute. So combining a Pokemon with Substitute with the ability of Soundproof is a good way to assure that your protection is going to protect yourself. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this Pokemon plays out. And I actually like it enough that I might use it as a team member. We'll have to see though. I think when I actually do get around to picking up Sun and Moon, I'm going to be playing it by ear when it comes to party. There are at least one or two Pokemon I'm going to use for sure, but I'm going to try to be as open as I can to Pokemon to use. Last but not least, I kid you not, this Pokemon's name is type Null. And oh boy, if Pokemon has not gotten enough criticism of, oh my god, they're running out of ideas. It's like type Null was designed just to show, hey, we haven't run out of ideas. Look how weird we can get. It makes more sense when you read up on it. But I'll admit, I'm not a fan of the Pokemon still. But I've come to appreciate it for what it is. And I understand that its naming, its design, is all on purpose. And it's not just... And it's actually a really good design. Because, even though I don't like the design, it's fits the purpose that the Pokemon has in the game. So on the Pokemon site, this Pokemon wearing a mask has been dubbed Null, meaning nothing. The shapes of his front and hind legs are clearly different. The reason type Null was constructed was to synthesize the strengths of various Pokemon, enabling it to adapt to any situation. The mask fitted onto type Null's head is a piece of equipment designed to control its latent powers. It's extremely heavy, so it also serves to hinder type Null's agility. To complete a certain mission, there was needed a Pokemon powerful enough to rival those Pokemon often spoken mythology. So yeah, type Null is essentially a Chimera. That alone justifies the odd design for it, and it makes me appreciate it a bit more. One thing I noticed skimming through the Pokemon site that a lot of people have looked over, one of the new trainers introduced in that trailer was a member of Team Skull by the name Galleon. If you go to the Team Skull page and read the description for him, it goes, quote, "This young man lends his strength to a Team Skull as an enforcer. He places high value on being strong in Pokemon battles. His partner Pokemon is the mysterious type Null." Yeah! The bad guys, and I'm gonna do that in quotes for now, because heck, they could throw any sort of plot twist. Type Null is gonna be on the bad side. But considering this Pokemon's made to combat mystics and legends, in the situation that is needed, are they the bad guys? They haven't convinced me otherwise yet, but it's some food for thought. So besides those 3 new Pokemon, we get some more details on Zygarde's purpose. Though essentially what we learn, there's going to be a set of NPCs who give us a storage case and you go around the region collecting its cells. This is probably how you get access to the different forms of Zygarde. But there's not really enough information to base any solid theories off of or anything. We find out that on top of Pokemon, there's going to be a set of creatures called Ultra Beasts. More on that later. There's a Pokefinder feature, which is essentially Pokemon Snap dumbed down to fit into a Pokemon game. The Pokefinder allows you to take pictures of Pokemon as you roam around the region, and there's some sort of ranking system, so you're encouraged to try to take higher quality shots. But I don't think it's really anything that's going to pay too much of a impact in the long run, but it might be a good homage to fans of Pokemon Snap. Oh, and you know how in Black and White they try to do things besides different Pokemon for different games to actually justify picking one over the other? Well, they revealed something like that for Sun and Moon, although I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it. Essentially, Pokemon Sun's going to take place in real time. The time set on your 3DS clock will be the time that is in the game. But for Pokemon Moon, it's set 12 hours ahead. So if you're playing the game at 10 o'clock a.m., it would be 10 o'clock p.m. in the game. And I am really on the fence about this. Actually, maybe even towards not liking it, but I want to like it. On one hand, it's a cool feature to dramatically set one game apart from the other, and it makes sense because it's called Pokemon Moon. So having a game that essentially tries to emulate a nighttime setting would be really nice. However, since it's 12 hours ahead, if you're an evening player, you're still playing the game in the morning most of the time. Secondly, it feels like it would be kind of annoying to try to catch day and night Pokemon when the times are flipped. And I just don't know. I feel like playing the game in the dark most of the time would get old after a while. Granted, that's not the only change between Sun and Moon. In the trailer, they even talked about how certain events will play out differently no matter what time you play at it between the two games. Best example I can think of is the first Totem Pokemon you run into. In Pokemon Sun, they show that you run into a Totem Gumshoe. But for Pokemon Moon, it's a Totem Raticate you run into. So even little things like that are gonna make the two games different. Making it more than just, do you want to play the game at day or if you want to play the game at night when deciding which of the two games you're gonna get. Originally I was gonna save this for the end, but it does tie a little into the topic, so at least allow me to go a little into this section of the Pokemon site that focuses on comments made by Game Freak's Shiryu Omoni, the director of Pokemon Sun and Moon. One of these sections is titled Why We're So Particular About Expressing Night and Evening. They're very interesting reads, so I encourage you to check out the Pokemon site for yourself. But to summarize, they're real particular about the lighting in the Alola region, and thanks to that, the same location can feel completely different depending on the time. Quote, sometimes wrapped the gentle glow of moonlight, sometimes illuminated by the crimson of the sun setting over the sea. Then it goes into natural phenomena that differ between sun and moon, not necessarily the day or night. And that's what reminded me of that particular difference of sun and moon. So a lot of this may come down to opinion, where you think the whole 12-hour shift is a good idea or not, if it'll encourage you to get one game over the other. So feel free to share your opinions with me as well. Last thing I want to talk about in regards to the newest trailer for Sun and Moon is Aether Foundation. From what we could see and on the surface, they certainly seem like the polar opposite to Team Skull. They work on an artificial island called Aether Paradise, where they not only provide shelter for Pokemon, but conduct various research. I know in the trailer they showed the president of the whole foundation with her arms wide open saying, I take all Pokemon in with loving arms. So they definitely appear to be a kind-hearted organization all about caring for Pokemon. But I wonder if they're going to end up caring too much. Maybe just because I enjoy the element from Ruby and Sapphire of two organizations with different goals, but neither of them are good in their way of performing their goals. But I wonder if it's gonna end up being that Aether Foundation somehow goes too far extreme into that side. Maybe it's just part of my adulthood, the way I grew up since then, believing there's always an extreme. You can have too much of anything, one way or the other. The Aether Foundation's heart definitely seems to be in the right place, but what if it's too much of a good thing? Or what if something they try to do for the better good ends up backfiring into something you don't expect? They do conduct quite a bit of research. And there's one more thing about the trailer I haven't talked about yet. And that would be the Ultra Beast. From what I see on their page, rumors are flying about mysterious creatures known as Ultra Beasts. Ultra Beasts possess mighty powers that could pose a threat to humans and Pokemon, so they are feared. It appears the Aether Foundation is also conducting research on these Ultra Beasts. According to rumor, multiple Ultra Beasts exist, each of them by a code name. So the obvious way to interpret that is the Aether Foundation is trying to study Ultra Beasts to learn how to stay safe from them and protect the lower region. But what if the research they did on the Ultra Beasts was creating them in the first place? What if they were doing it for some sort of better good, but they escape, and now people are afraid of if they're going to cause harm to humans or not? That's what I personally take away from it, but I'm sure we're going to need to learn more about the game in order to know for sure what sort of impact the Aether organization and Ultra Beasts are going to have. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but it would certainly make a good plot twist and would give a bit more flesh out to the people of this organization. Because Otherwise, you just see them as a bunch of goody goods, and they don't really have any sort of character flaw. Only other thing I can think of to talk about is the Ultra Beasts themselves. So far, we've only had confirmed on the Pokemon website UB01. It has a glass-like substance, but is constantly changing shapes, never settling on just one. It does have a sense of survival, but no one can confirm if it has its own will or any emotions. And the site also says that for some reason, its movements resemble those of a young girl. Between the picture they show on the site and that last statement, the internet has come up with their own theories, but I'm not quite sold on them myself, so I'm gonna leave that up to you to find for yourself if you're truly curious about it. Of course, right after I record all that Sun and Moon news, 2 hours later, we get a new teaser trailer with 2 new Ultra Beasts revealed in it. And I don't know, it's tempting to skip it because it's not part of the trailer I was focusing this mini-cast on, and it's a bit behind it it's in, but heck, it'll go by real quick, so let's just get into that. So, in the teaser trailer, we had review the next Ultra Beast, UB02. And I know what you're gonna say, Jackie K, didn't you just say there's 2? Well, there is. They're both UB02. One for Pokemon Sun, the other for Pokemon Moon. Now, the one that's going to be in Sun does have a sub-name to separate it. It is called Absorption. And wow, I can see why it's called Absorption. It kind of looks like a muscular mosquito supervillain. No, really. It has the antennas and the long nose of a mosquito. Something about his chest just rubs me off that way too. And it just has the real dark red colors. It's pretty pointy all around. The description doesn't help either. I don't know if they updated the Pokemon site with it yet. I wasn't able to find the Ultra Beast listed on the Pokemon site. However, someone must have been able to because I go to Therapy, which is the next best thing. They only report the officially confirmed information. They do core links, but I can assure you that this information just came from a teaser trailer revealed this morning. So let's dive into it. Quote, the extent of his strength is unknown. His entire body is covered with bulging, powerful muscles. The full force of a punch powered by these muscles would be off the charts. Now, would that be by Earth standards or the Pokemon world standards? There's a huge difference between what's measurable on Earth and a fictional world that's literally composed of sea gods, monstrous birds, animals that can melt steel beams, and literal God itself. Either way though, let's go into the rest of it. Its distinctively long mouth is said to be harder than diamonds, because the Ultra Beasts also use it to attack. Absorption confirmed as mosquito. Why would they draw details to his mouth, which I can only assume is what I describe as his nose, if it was not a mosquito-like creature? And now I am going to be thinking of these 2 Ultra Beasts as bugs, because after making all those realizations about Absorption, the one for Pokemon Moon, Beauty, I can't shake the feeling that it looks like a bug as well. It's got really long antennas. It kind of has the body frame of a robotic praying mantis. And I don't know about that hair that goes way down his body, but maybe it could be interpreted as wings or something. Anyways, the description for this one is, its narrow, graceful legs allow it to accelerate with such explosive speed that Pokemon... Why am I calling people Pokemon? That's someone else's thing. Anyways, whoever claims it can dodge lightning. It is said that any Pokemon that sees UB02's beauty, regardless of its own gender, will become infatuated by it and will lose the will to battle. The exact reason for this reaction, whether it's an identified phenomenon excluded by its beauty, or a hypnotic effect induced by its appearance, has not been determined. Only other real thing I can gather from the few seconds we saw of these Ultra Beasts is it looks like they're going to play a role in the game's plot, attacking the island itself. And the one Pokemon that was revealed as a guardian for the island comes to fight back against it. That's all I really know about them for now. And that's all I have in regards to that last trailer of Pokemon Sun and Moon. I'm gonna shoot for having the audio for the KayCast up by Saturday, though noticing how long it took me to edit the video for last week's KayCast, I might not be able to do a deadline for it anymore and just I'll have it up on YouTube as soon as I can. I'm gonna have to go more into future plans for YouTube and the KayCast in general when I do record that, because as is, I've noticed it's been cutting into the time I would normally put into videos more than I was expecting, and if things keep going as planned in my outside online life, I'm gonna have a lot less time to actually record, edit stuff, and work on online activities in general. I'm currently thinking of maybe going back to every other week, and maybe just do mini KayCasts for Sun and Moon news as it's officially revealed. But I'll get more into that when the time comes. I hope you all enjoy this video. If you do, be sure to like it on either Podbeam or YouTube, depending on where you're listening to it to. Feel free to subscribe to either of those places as well, so you can get updates as soon as they're online. And if you got access to social media, you can either follow me on Jacket Stuff on Twitter, though it's very informal and you may run across more spammy, memey things and random statements on there than other places. If you want only official updates, I would recommend checking out my Facebook page for that, which would be Jacket K, spelled Jackitk. And they have art pages as well, but this is not an art episode, so I'm not really gonna bring it up here. That's it for me. Hope to see you later on in the week for the next KayCast. Okay,